All right, y'all, check out the fit, bro. I got heat on right now just for this banger of a video. All right, I knew that this video was going to be a banger, and I actually have had multiple people ask me, Astrid, when is your prediction video coming out for 2025? I forgot to turn the light on. Anyways, when is it coming out? Well, you're watching it right now. Today, we're going to be going over what I think is going to be kind of looking like this maybe likely in 2025, and talking about maybe a little bit of things I didn't write down. You'll see what I mean in just a second here. But before we get into that, drop a like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with more content just like this. We do content on Galaxy of Heroes regularly, so if you want to stay tuned to that, subscribe. Anyways, why do we have Bad Batch on the screen right now? Well, I'm glad you asked, viewer, that is definitely confused about why we have Bad Batch on the screen. It's because we are in the Bad Batch era of content in Galaxy of Heroes, and I want to kind of say that we kind of know what we're getting out of the Bad Batch era. So I kind of want to exclude this from not exclude it necessarily, but ignore it a little bit more than I would the rest of the content that we're going to talk about today. Just because we kind of already know, so predicting stuff we already know is a little bit boring, right? That makes sense to you? Cool. So that's what we're doing. You guys may know, instead of doing a prediction video or what characters are we going to be getting in 2025, I do bingos, and I think bingos are a little more fun because you can go through the year and update them as we're going, right? And so this is my bingo. We're going to go through it, talk about what I mean by some of these things, what kind of things we can expect from some of these spots on the bingo card, and also talk about a few things that are not on the bingo card. So let's get into this, shall we? We're gonna go reading order. Excuse me. We're gonna go reading order, left or right, corner, like that. Okay, so top right, left. That's the left. We have really the Lightspeed bundle row right here. A bunch of Lightspeed bundles. I put them all in a row. I'm like, if we get all these Lightspeed bundles, there's a row right there. Sure. Lord Vader. They've kind of been throwing out a bunch of Lightspeed bundles lately. We don't have Lightspeed bundles for Ahsoka, obviously. Don't have Lightspeed bundle for Leia, Lord Vader, or Jedi Master Kenobi out of all the Galactic Legends. So, I wonder what year is this year? What year would it be where Jedi Master Kenobi and Lord Vader Lightspeed bundles would make sense? I wonder. So, I think that they're just going to go all out with the Lightspeed bundles. We've seen that everything's on the table. No one really goes for Lord Vader anymore unless you really hate yourself. No one goes for Lord Vader really, and if they do, it's usually the last or like second class GL that they go for, right? He's a GL, but there's better choices, right? So Lord Vader, I think, makes sense as a Lightspeed bundle, and just because we kind of briefly touched on it, Jedi Master Kenobi, it's the equivalent, the counter to Lord Vader. And again, what year is it? So that's why I put that there. Now let's continue going in the order I was originally talking about. Old Unit Omicron. We haven't had this, I believe, since Poggle-Cron, and it didn't happen last year anyways, where an old character gets an Omicron that transforms or upgrades the team that they are on, making them viable. It is not necessarily a rework, but it's an Omicron that you can apply to a character that was previously in the game for an extended period of time that either did not have an Omicron or was added a separate Omicron on top of the Omicrons they already have to make them better. We did not see that in 2024, so it is returning in 2025. I want to see that happen, CG. I want to see it. Next to that, unit rework. I can't even remember what the last thing we got reworked was. I think it was the Endurance. I think the last thing we got was the Endurance. I don't even remember if that was 2023 or 2024 at this point, but it's been a while. So I'd like to see it again. There's a bunch of old characters that need it. Mainly Kit Fisto, bro. I keep saying this. I would love Kit Fisto to get reworked in Galaxy of Heroes. Let me change the music, actually. I would love Kit Fisto to get a rework in Galaxy of Heroes, specifically, but there's so many characters. HK-47, I'm a Gundai. Like, there's you can go on and on and on about characters that need to get reworked, right? Relic 10. We haven't had any gear changes, and by gear changes I mean like gear upgrade changes in a while. It's been what, 2022? What is it? 2021? I don't even remember. Since they added Relic 9, it's been a while, and there has been things in the past pointing towards Relic 10 coming. So I'm gonna keep it on the board because I don't think it's impossible that maybe in the later half of 2025 we see Relic 10 added in the game. Next up, a bad unit gets a lifter. Now, I had something similar to this on the last board. We had an old unit gets a lifter. And then we kind of realized that's like every conquest unit. So an old unit getting a new lifter to bring them back into the meta is fairly common, and we got that one checked off, I believe, immediately with Darth Bane. This time, I made it a little more specific. A bad unit gets a lifter instead of an old unit getting a lifter. A bad unit gets a lifter because this time around, I want to see a character that actually needs a lifter get a lifter, right? Like another Lord Vader lifter. I don't know if I'd count that. Another Sith Eternal lifter, if they were to do that, I don't know if I would count that. We would have to debate that. I would debate that on a live stream probably with you guys, whether or not those would be bad characters getting a lifter. I'm not sure about that. But I'm talking about like if a team... what's a bad team off the top of my head? Old Republic. If Old Republic gets Revan Reborn as the GL this year, which I don't think is going to happen this year, by the way, but if Revan Reborn comes out and is the Galactic Legend for this year, excuse me, you could say that Karth Onasi would be getting a lifter with the Galactic Legend. Just an example. That'd be an extreme example, but it's a bad character getting a new unit that makes the team good. Again, we talked about the Jedi Master Kenobi bundle. Trench Capital Ship, I kept it on here, but I feel significantly less confident on this. Now, we're going to talk about Galactic Legends and Capital Ships in just a second here, but Trench is the only Admiral in the game that has the Admiral title that doesn't have a Capital Ship. What year is it this year? Now, again, I know he wasn't technically in Revenge of the Sith because of... I know he wasn't in it, right? But he died right before it, and it would fit with the era. Again, it would be a Separatist capital ship. So I still think it's possible, but I feel significantly less confident on a Trench capital ship this year. Excuse me, but I kept it on here. Revenge of the Sith Palpatine. Now, originally I had Conquest Galactic Republic Palpatine. Then I realized that was way too specific. Again, what year is it this year? What year is it? We've been asking and talking about a Revenge of the Sith Palpatine for so long. I feel like Palpatine would be a neutral character, or he would have synergy with both Separatist and Galactic Republic, or maybe even just Darkseid in general and Galactic Republic. I could totally see something like that happen. I didn't want to specifically limit it to Conquest in case he is the Galactic Legend this year. Again, I don't think he will be. But if he is, I don't want to just limit that. So we've just put Revenge of the Sith Palpatine. Now, if we get Senator Palpatine, but not Chancellor Palpatine, I will not count it. We have to get Chancellor Palpatine to check off this spot on the list. Next up, no Galactic Legend or Capital Ship. Now, let me explain. There was a theory started, I think, around the time that the Naboo raid came out, maybe a little bit before that, where people were thinking, I don't think we're getting a capital ship this year. I don't think it's happening. I heard theories about that. I heard Scribe talk about it a little bit, I think. I heard it through the grapevine, I think through Rabbit Beaver or Arnold or something like that. We're like, maybe we're not getting a capital ship this year, and we didn't get a capital ship this year. So, since the Mando movie is coming out next year, and, I mean, I don't think Thrawn's the main villain of that, but that's coming out soon. Maybe they will do the Thrawn counterpart to Ahsoka, not in 2025, but in 2026, meaning maybe they're going to slow down the release of capital ships and Galactic Legends and do every other year. I couldn't really fit this all into one board, which is why I'm explaining this to you. I'm saying this year we might not get a Galactic Legend. Now, really early take. Obviously, we're just getting started. I think we might not get a Galactic Legend this year. I think we're definitely getting a capital ship. They've been messing around with a lot of the fleet stuff lately, and I feel like we're all confused and frustrated right now. Potentially, it's leading up to another capital ship. Potentially Thrawn. Maybe, I don't think a new Chimera, but it's not impossible. Something like that. would make a lot of sense instead of a GL this year if they decide to do every other. Because we have so many Galactic Legends now in the game. We have 8, right? 8 or 9. We have 9, I think, actually. We have 9. Because Ahsoka's 9. Yeah, so we have 9 now. If we kept doing a capital ship and a Galactic Legend every single year, it would just... It's a lot of development time, especially if they want to spend time on, like, the Bad Batch Season 3 era. Just put more teams in the game. I know they kind of are rushing through this, but... I think it's not impossible to say that they might skip a GL this year and just add a capital ship at the end of this year instead. Now, GLs make them a lot of money, and I know that, and I think this is really early to call. And again, this is a bingo. I just wanted to throw this on here as like an idea, kind of maybe balance it off for you guys. And if we don't get a capital ship this year, and we still get a Galactic Legend but no capital ship, then I can still check this one off the board, because I was right. I'm saying we're either going to get a Galactic... Oh my god. I'm saying we're either going to get a Galactic Legend or a capital ship this year. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think they're going to switch up the cadence of that. Next up, CG stops complaints with a distraction. What is that? CG gets in some hot water. They release a character that's bugged and broken, blah, blah, blah. Conquest unit sucks, breaks the game, whatever. I don't know. And then they say, all right, guys, here's the kit reveal for Chancellor Palpatine, neutral character, synergy with Galactic Republic and all dark side characters, and we're like, oh my god, the game is saved! Oh my god, CG, you're a genius! That would be an example of them distracting us with the problems we have in-game with something coming up, or giving us some sort of reward or something like that. Now, giving us a reward for something they mess up, that doesn't actually fix the issue. They're just trying to say sorry. That would not count. It would be them trying to distract us from something with something good, not just giving us 3 Clone Wars Chewie shards, right? That wouldn't... I love Clone Wars Chewie shards, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't really cut it here. Next up, we have the Inquisitor Light Bundle. People were talking about this. They asked, I believe it was Meathead about this, and he said, let me write that down. And so he wrote that down, and we did not get an Inquisitor Light Bundle in 2024, so writing it down for 2025. We have Skeleton Crew content. I don't know if this is likely. I think if we get Skeleton Crew content this year, it would be I think it would be like the last thing we get this year. Or maybe kind of like how we have Bad Batch Season 3 stuff at the beginning of this year. Maybe the beginning of next year. But also Skeleton Crew content would be kind of tough because they're all kids, right? And so CG has a thing about putting kids in the game, even though we have Omega. We have 2 Omegas and IG-12 and Grogu, which is just Grogu in a mech. So technically we do have at least 3 kids in the game. Now, are they going to add a squad of 4 children and a terrorist? It's pirate, but would they add that as a squad? I don't know. I think if we get Skeleton Crew content, it most likely would be like a Jod conquest unit, and then we could get an SM-33 lifter at some point. But if they did the full squad with all the kids and SM-33 as like the squad, and then they have Jod as a mercenary character, which I don't really think he's a mercenary, but like just for the tag's sake, they could add Jod as like a mercenary conquest character. I could see that all working, but again, any Skeleton Crew addition to the game in 2025 would check this off, even if we just get 1 character. So, by the way, Skeleton Crew is peak, by the way. That is a great show. I had 0 faith in that show, did not give it a chance. I watched it and I loved it, by the way. So if you haven't watched Skeleton Crew, I highly recommend checking it out. Anyways, this is a free space. Next up, a unit releases broken and they don't fix it. Now, why did I put this in here? This is a very specific thing. This is specifically referring to, I believe it's Hera Syndulla, the new General Hera kit. Doesn't work. The revive or savior mechanic, I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. It doesn't work. It just straight up does not work. I think Ezra has a few issues with Ahsoka, or maybe a few issues with Hera, something like that. Maybe they've adjusted it by now. They were putting out a bunch of hot fixes, so maybe I'm forgetting or didn't see it. But I believe Hera was broken. Hera was broken for a long time. I'm not sure if she still is currently broken, but she was broken for at least a month. I don't know if they fixed her yet or not. So if they do that again, this would check off this spot. The Force Awakens. This year is the Force Awakens anniversary, as well as Revenge of the Sith, which I think they might go harder on Revenge of the Sith. But I mean, we could technically say that we're getting a sequel era content, excuse me, with Darkseid Rey, this conquest cycle technically, but that's not Force Awakens, that's Rise of Skywalker. So I'm not counting it as like sequel content anniversary. It has to be Force Awakens anniversary. With Revenge of the Sith anniversary, if they labeled it as Revenge of the Sith anniversary and then added the Trench Capital ship, I think I would count that. I'm just calling out specifically Force Awakens here because we know about Darkseid Rey. It's not fair to say, well, it's sequel content, so it's Force Awakens. No, we're not counting that. Again, I'm kind of skipping over a lot of the stuff we already have currently announced because I feel like that's cheating. I think I just played this song. We're going to play a different song. Yeah, okay. Anyways, Profundity Lightspeed Bundle. We got a bunch of Lightspeed Bundles. Again, like everything's a Lightspeed Bundle now. Profundity's been basically kind of useless now that the Punishing One has completely dominated the fleet meta. So I think a Profundity Lightspeed Bundle just to get more people's hands on the Profundity would help. Maybe they're probably going to do more ship changes at some point this year, I think. So hopefully the Profundity is part of that, and we'll see what happens. Next up, we have Acolyte content. Now, don't hate me. All right. Objectively, the Acolyte did come out. You can't tell me it didn't. The Acolyte did release. It was a show that people were able to watch. Now, it has the Star Wars name attached to it. So the natural question is, will CG milk our wallets because it has the Star Wars name attached to it? I am less confident on... Honestly, I'm less confident on Skeleton Crew content than I am on Acolyte content. I feel more comfortable with Acolyte content because of one character that's, I think, in the thumbnail of this video. The Stranger. The Stranger is definitely going to be a Conquest unit this year. Absolutely. The Conquest... He should be another Sith Eternal lifter. Because Bane was too good... Sorry. But Bane was too good to the point where he is now his own squad, and it is a waste to use him with Sith Eternal. I think when they add Chimere to the game, he should be a Sith Eternal lifter character that's actually going with Sith Eternal. He's not too good to the point where he's his own team and can beat most of the Galactic Legends in the game. I think he specifically needs to be tied to Sith Eternal to help make that better, right? Now, if they go full out Acolyte content, which I don't think they will, but if they do go all out, we could see a squad with Jod, not Jod, what's his name? Yord, Soul, Osha, Jeki, and like Basil or something, I don't know. Or we can get Soul, Indara, Kalnaka, Torben, I believe his name is, and someone else would be another good one. Oh, the Green Lady. I don't know. Venestra. That's another squad. They could add. Excuse me. They could add flashback Jedi or current age Jedi for that squad. That could all work. So I'm curious to see what they would do with Acolyte content. I think there's more room for Acolyte content in this game than Skeleton Crew content, but I think we probably just are getting a Chimere. If anything, we're probably just getting Chimere. Next up, sequel era raid. Now, I do want to talk about this a little bit more. The raid for this year. People were originally saying, oh, it's going to be a raid that requires mercenaries, and it's going to be a Ahsoka era. It's going to be like CTOS, and you have to get to Peridia, or it's going to be a Peridia getting back to the other galaxy. Maybe. Maybe it's, oh my god, we're getting all of this Bad Batch era content because they're going to do a Zillo Beast raid. Maybe. Or, I believe we're going to get 2 raids this year. Because we should be getting a raid very soon. And then maybe we get a raid at the very end of the next year, or beginning of the year, beginning of 2026, or end of 2025. We should be getting another raid. So, we could see, as part of the Force Awakens anniversary, a Starkiller base raid. I think that would be one of the coolest sequel era raids you could do. Either that or Exegol would be the 2 sequel era raids that would actually be really cool. Maybe I could see Crate, but I think Starkiller base or Exegol would be cooler. I feel like it's possible, not likely. I wanted to throw it on here because I wanted to throw that idea out there that we're either gonna get, I'll just talk about it now. We're either gonna get a raid that requires mercenaries, and mercenaries can be Balin. Mercenaries are gonna be, I believe the new Bad Batch characters have the mercenary tag, I think. Maybe not, I'm blanking right now. I know Batcher doesn't, so maybe they don't actually, I don't know. We're either gonna get like an Ahsoka / mercenary era content raid, so maybe like a Star Wars Rebels type of raid, because then you can use Spectre tags, because they call themselves Spectres in the Rebels show. There were mercenaries in the Rebels show, but then you can also have like overlap from Bad Batch, so maybe it's like a Ryloth raid, something like that, because that would tie all that stuff together, would be Ryloth. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. I think something like that could be cool for the raid. We have to get a little creative with it. I think they're going to make the raid requirements a little bit more accessible this next time, because people, including myself, did not like the Naboo raid. So that's kind of where I'm pushing towards on that. So I'm thinking we're either getting a Starkiller base raid or some raid that requires mercenaries. That's the two spots. Andor content, I would love to see Luthen's ship. Luthen is a great addition to the game. I'd love to see more Andor specifically Season 2 content, but I don't think we're going to get Season 2 content because it's coming out this year, so it would come out next year, but maybe they'll release Andor Season 1 content with Andor Season 2. Like we'll get a new casting or something, I don't know. New raid sucks. I put this on here from last year, and I'm keeping it on here. Because the new raid, ever since the Krayt Dragon raid, they've sucked. I haven't liked any. The last one I liked was the Krayt Dragon raid. Honestly, I think off the top of my head, I'm not a fan of the majority of the raids in comparison to like. I think I dislike more of them than I like. How about that? I like the Sith raid, like as a concept. I like the Krayt raid. The AAT raid's okay. I'm not a huge fan of the Rancor one. I don't like the Naboo one. I didn't like Endor. So, I don't know. I'm putting it on there. The raid probably is going to suck. Just throwing it on there right now. We talked about Revenge of the Sith Anniversary. This is basically guaranteed at this point. Which is why I put it in the row of Light Spoonals. So, if they go crazy with Light Spoonals, and get all the Light Spoonals right here, this should be an easy bingo. Right? This should be an easy bingo this year. Next up, we have Clone Factions, changes, updates, or additions. I am not including the Bad Batch stuff on it. Unless we get to the end of the year, and this didn't get checked off, and there's no other bingos that we got, then I'll be like, okay, well, technically at the beginning of the year, we're getting Bad Batch air content, but just clone-related stuff, so I will count that. If we get to the end of the year, I will do it. Right now, I'm not counting it. Because I'm specifically wanting to try and get, like, Revenge of the Sith clones stuff. That'd be really great. Now, there's so many clones in the game. There's the 501st Trooper, there's the Shock Trooper, the 212th Trooper, and some of them were in the Ahsoka, like, GL event, stuff like that. There's a 332nd Trooper. So, there's a lot of clone troopers in the game that, or at least have been hinted at. Well, I think the 501st is in either the JMK or Lord Vader GL event too, or maybe they're in both, actually. I think they're in both. So, a lot of opportunity for a new clone trooper. I'd love to see that. One new clone trooper would check this off. If they reworked the faction a little bit, that would check this off. It has to be the clone trooper tag, though. The clone trooper tag. Not Galactic Republic, not Jedi, not Phoenix. The clone trooper tag. Specifically. I'd like to see that. We already talked about this raid. More store changes. I mean, they've been changing the store around a lot, so this kind of just counts. And then bugged event okay, well, I put bugged event / unit at launch. I kind of put that over here too. So let's just pretend this is just bugged event at launch instead of / unit. Bugged event at launch. I mean, we've seen this a bunch of times. What was it, like the Jabba event, or maybe no, it was the Leia event was bugged for a minute. Maybe the Jabba event too, actually. The Balin event sucked, but that wasn't really bugged, I don't think. It was just bad. So, I mean, we've seen examples of events not really properly working when they first come out. That would get this spot listed off here. So, actually, I actually managed to talk about most of the things I wanted to talk about in this video. I was saying at the beginning, like, oh, we're going to talk about a little bit more after, but honestly, I talked about most of the things I wanted to talk about. I could see a bunch of new characters getting added, like Bail Organa or something this year. It'll be fun. I could see some new battle droids or something like that for Revenge of the Sith. I think they would go all out with Revenge of the Sith. I think that's what this year is going to be, mostly Revenge of the Sith. Like how last year, like the last half of the year was focused on Ahsoka era content. I think we're getting a little bit of Bad Batch stuff out of the way. And then I think we might either move into like a little bit of Andor and then we do Revenge of the Sith, or they just go all in on Revenge of the Sith for a really long time. And like the middle of the year is Revenge of the Sith, and the last part of the year is Force Awakens. That's kind of my guess, which is again why I put the sequel era raid here. I think if they were going to do 2 raids this year, we'll probably get a prequel one next, and then sequel era would be very end of the year. That's why these 2 are both on here. So mostly I talked about what I want to talk about. Let me know what you guys think about this bingo in the comment section down below. I'm very curious to hear about your thoughts. I'm excited about this and excited to cover Galaxy of Heroes in 2025. If you guys are interested and did like this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to stay up to date with more content just like this. I do really appreciate y'all hanging out with me till the very end. Comment Plogoon, put hashtag Plogoon, put the Gooners put Plogoon in the comment section if you've watched the whole video, and I'll heart all of your comments. Thanks for watching, join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.